Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well, and welcome to another video. As you can see, we're well prepared around here for the current events, and don't worry, I'm not going to do this gimmick the entire video. In fact,
that's annoying. I got some equipment from work because I'm a contractor, but anyway, yeah, so I got time to do some work today, and a little bit of a quarantine isn't going to slow me down. In fact, I'm still having to go to work. Anyway, I got a lot of stuff today that I've been putting off for a couple of months now. It's kind of exciting because I'm moving past the phase of having to get the bike to where it can just run at all, and now I get to do some customization kind of stuff. So I'm really excited. I got a bunch of little doodads. I'll call them a beyond a farkle if you're familiar with that term. Actually, a lot of it's pretty useful. So let me show you what I got. So for today's goals, I got two things that I want to get established here. I've got these new control levers that I'd like to get installed, though I'm looking at them and I'm worried, particularly the brake lever isn't going to quite fit right. We'll see how this goes. I got some fairly inexpensive ones because, well, I don't want to spend a lot of money, and I really don't like ultra aftermarket-y looking brake levers, but I'm sure most people missed it, but the brake levers that were on the bike were bent, and so I bent them back. But of course, you know, I want to have something fresher on there. So these are pretty cheap. I didn't go with some, I almost went with some Vortex ones and it ended up not fitting. So, and then these, you might be thinking, well, gee, you already got clip-ons and they're not bent or anything. Why do you have different ones? If you look, these are actually slightly raised. These are Helibars. I got them from eBay. They're a few $100s when you buy them new. These are obviously used ones. I'm going to first try to fit them, and then eventually I'm going to get them repainted, but they're not too bad and they're functional, and I want to see how I like them. I'm not a young guy anymore. I got nothing to fool, no one to fool, so I'm going to go with these slightly raised up ones because I think they'll be a little easier on my back. The other thing I've been working on is this looks like a pile of junk, but it's actually sandpaper and of course a bucket of soap and water there. And I've actually been using this tank to clean up a little bit, just testing really obscure spots to see if it works. I've also, let's pan the camera up here a little bit. You can see up there I've taped a little bit, and I've been touching up a mark on the tank with a touch-up pen. Let's move that out of the way. And it probably isn't showing up too well on the film, but you can see it's not perfect yet. Doing some experimenting. I know that's right on top and front and center, but that scratch was, you can see about how big it is. It's about as wide as my pointer finger here. Yeah, you can see it there. And it was at least this deep, so pretty bad. Most of this, I've got actually a carbon fiber thingy that I'm going to cover that up with, but I got a lot of other stuff here, like these scratches that I want to get worked out. So I got to be really careful, see how much of that is actually into the paint and how much of that is just into the finish. Good news is my experimental spot has been right in here, and I know you see a scuff there, but that scuff hasn't been tackled. There was actually a pretty sizable scuff to this effect right in here, and you can see I've actually been able to polish it right away. This is another experimental kind of spot. There's a little bit of a mark there. Actually, I think that's just finger smudge. There's still a little bit of a mark there, but I'm able to tackle it. So I'm really gently experimenting. This is another spot I experimented with. Those scratches have been there. What I've cleaned up is this spot right here, just this little bit here, and it's actually, excuse me, it was this bit right here. So you can kind of see a little bit of stuff, but you can see where it's cleaner right in there. That's the spot that I worked on. Again, I'm just trying little different bits of the tank to see how I can get it, and eventually I'm going to have a major project. But that's like a side project. Those are experiments. Let's get to the main event today. So I'm pretty anxious about doing two things at once. And so what I'm actually going to do, I think, is first do the controls and then do the handlebars. And so I'm going to get the controls 100%, make sure that they're engaging properly, and then go tackle the handlebars. It's just how I like to work. I don't like to, have two things going at once, because I've found really, really odd events where you think two things aren't related and then one variable affects the other, and all of a sudden, stuff isn't working right. So we're going to go ahead and do this one at a time. There's one. That wasn't the safest cut I ever did, but it'll work. Okay. You can probably see why, just looking at these two pieces, why I'm replacing this. You can see how bent out of shape the old one is, and how the new one looks. I mean, the new one can be adjusted, but even if I adjust it back and forth, I've already tried. It can be in a similar position, but it's not in the right shape. And this obvious bend, I've been feeling it when I'm riding. It's just not right. It was bent way up. The bike must have been laid down or something. And then the gold, I don't know if it's paint or if it's just like kind of anodization, but it's the gold theme that the bike consistently has had. Again, if you're familiar with these bikes, know what I'm talking about. That gold color they use. So this isn't an exact match, but it's clean. I might get it painted someday. I might replace it. But the key thing is those pieces line up. And I tried replacing a couple months ago with a set of Vortex ones that I got from, I don't remember. It was Radzilla or one of those places. And it didn't fit, of course. So I'm going to go with this. And yeah, it should be good. Last time the problem was with the clutch. This time it's with the brake. You see, these things are completely different. Bad news, right? So we're not going to have the nice shiny new one. The good news is the nice shiny new one, it's not really all that nice. These were, I think I paid $20 for these things. These were like the cheapest handlebars I could find. And I think this has been replaced because the old one said Brembo on the clutch lever, and this is just obviously not. It's straight enough. It's actually bigger than the replacement, I think. So I'm just going to polish this turkey and stick with it. I don't want to make it a massive project out of this. Oh well, shit happens. It's still adjustable too. There's this slight adjuster knob right here that can do some degree of adjusting. Good enough. I'm going to clean this up, lubricate it, and move on with life. Okay, well that was obviously too easy. This is going to be a little bit harder because if I remember right, the clip-ons here, yeah, these, you just undo the screws and they pop right off. These are not like that. There's no hinge, and so I'm actually, looks like I'm going to have to lift the bike up, drop the fork tubes down, out of the yoke, probably take the old clip-ons off first and put these on after. But look at the extra job. Oh well. Guess what I'm going to do is pull out the jack. I'm not going to get as involved. It's a lot easier with the rear wheel stand. Might be safer to take it off the lift, but I think it'll be alright. Wish me luck. Trouble getting to the front, the lower yoke bolts, yoke bolts. Boy, that's a hard word. And so yeah, I'm gonna have to do some disassembly. I got some other stuff that I need to work on. I mentioned the turn indicators. I got a few other goodies, so maybe we're just gonna turn this one into one big project. All this stuff is going to have to come off soon anyway, so might as well while I'm down here. Anyway, I got to take off the tank again, the air box. That'll lighten it up, but also make it the center of gravity much lower, make it safer while I'm jacking up. So it's all kosher. But yeah, I'm not going to film this. You guys probably see me do this 15 times already. Good grief. Okay, front end is off. Yokes are lightened. Jack is tense. See how this goes. It's been a few days, obviously. I was touching my face too much during this whole Corona stuff, and you know, I would tug at the beard while, you know, that, and I really don't like the super scruffy mountain man look, and our barber's closed, and so there was no way for me to maintain it. So back to the face. R.I.P. my beard. 6 months. That was the longest I've ever been with a beard. But hopefully after, I think the beard looked pretty good. I probably will regrow it, but then again, my wife said she way prefers me without a beard. I don't know, I've got the biggest, chubbiest baby face on the planet. So, oh well. Anyway, back to work. this cable luber that was recommended on a motorcyclist webpage. See how it works out here. Alright, I've been fussing with getting all this together for 20 minutes or more. I'll probably show some of it on there, but the problem is there's a pin on the underside of the throttle cable, and that pin has to mount into the bottom of the bar so that the holder here stays firm while the tube can rotate. And I was trying to get it in, let's see, well, I'm going to kind of spoil it, but I was trying to get it into that hole, because that was the hole that looked right, and I didn't even recognize that this hole is here. The problem is that when the bike is stock, the throttle cable is rotated more like, it's more flat, right? This is basically now horizontal, so I just gotta it's just the way it all is. You see how it's crisscrossed there? To get it to go horizontal, it's gonna conflict with the brake lines. I gotta re-wrap everything in there, but anyway, I figured out the issue, but I was getting worried that I wasn't gonna be able to get it, because if you look at where the handlebar is right now, the handlebar was, in order for it to not bind, it was having to sit like this, which is, it really should sit more like that, and it was way up here, so it was definitely wrong. So anyway, I think I got it. So I noticed a ride or two ago that my brake lights weren't working quite right. The rear brake was turning them on, but the front brake was hit or miss. Happened about the time I went on for a ride in the rain, but I actually think it was probably bad before that. I was a little worried that it might be one of these connectors, because they can, again, if you got to order them from Ducati, they can be pricey, and it could have been a couple weeks. But I went to examine the connector, and it's pretty healthy. Long story short, it turns out it's these little spade crimpable clips. So I've got some replacements, and I'm just gonna crimp these on, put some tape around them, and move on with life. I don't want to make a huge project out of this, and honestly, these things are crimpable. It'll stay on. Nothing's gonna break if I don't do it. That would do a phenomenal job. So we're gonna go ahead and do this real quick. off here. Did a lot of work, and the video I'm sure is going to get a little on the long side by now. Looking good. We got these Helibars installed, and this has been a thing that I've been wanting to do for a while. I think I covered, replaced all the fluids, rear brake, front brake, clutch, all that stuff's working good. So yeah, I think we'll cut that one off here, and the next video we'll have some other knickknacks and doodads to put on, and I'm really excited to show you guys what's coming up next. So it's kind of cool. The bike's where the bike is now from where it was. You know, now we're just playing and customizing kind of stuff, right? So anyway, I don't need to be too long-winded. Hope everyone stays healthy, and if you do get to go ride, keep the rubber side down. Thanks for watching.